Hey everyone, thanks for joining another edition of the Unwrapped mini interview series. My name's Oshman. I'm one of the founders of Unwrap. As a reminder, Unwrap is building software that helps software companies, other product leaders quickly aggregate all of their customer feedback, make sense of what their customers are saying, and spend less time analyzing feedback and spend more time building products that their customers love. I'm joined today by John Martin. John is the CPO of Housecall Pro. Housecall builds field service management software, helping thousands of other companies run their field service businesses. John, did I miss anything there?
Nope.
Awesome. Let's get started. Cool. So, as an active user of Unwrap, we're really excited to chat with you today, get your perspective on all things customer feedback and how that impacts Housecall's operations. So one of the questions I want to start with today was around bias. So you've talked a lot in our past exchanges about bias, human bias, recency bias in the prioritization process. I was hoping you could elaborate on that, like how you think about that concern and ways that you try and mitigate that.
Yeah, so my fear is mostly probably around the topic of confirmation bias. And so there's just countless times in my career where someone, me included, has said, this solution meets one of the biggest customer needs that we have. And then someone else says, this solution meets one of the biggest needs that our customers have. And on, and everybody kind of can find some customer that will tell them that their solution is the thing that is needed. And so the thing that's always been really difficult for me in my product career is getting a really clear understanding of the overall stack rank and prioritization across all the different parts of the product. And how do you know, based on volume and based on severity across everything, not just because no one product manager is looking across everything, especially as you get to a certain amount of scale, everybody's in their silo. And so that's the thing that has been the thing that I've been trying to solve, and what brought us to people, actually.
No, that resonates really well. I think I've seen that as well, where we see a lot of product managers kind of working forwards from what they anecdotally have identified as a problem, and then using kind of whatever evidence they can to justify it that way, instead of working backwards from what is the ground truth of what customers are saying. And it's really difficult, but it's definitely one of the things that we're on a mission to try and solve and make easier, and kind of make that data just easier to surface. Awesome. Maybe next question for you is, given you oversee a wide range of activities, how has Unwrap helped you and your teams kind of get more efficient or reduce costs in the day-to-day prioritization process?
So the main way that it's helped us get efficient is in aggregating the feedback across all of our customer-facing teams. So before we came to Unwrap, we had the idea that it'd be good for us to standardize and structure all of our customer feedback from all of the different groups that get them. We have through sales and success and a bunch of different community, we have about 7 different teams that are talking to customers in one way or another and getting data. And so we had this great idea to develop something called Pro Votes, which our customers are called pros. And so it's a structured way that all of our customer facing teams could put forward a vote that a pro has about a feature. And then it was very quickly astonishingly overwhelming, and there was just no way that any of our product people could triage it. And so the real efficiency has been able to aggregate that in and get even more sources of data. We've added in our NPS survey and all these other places where we get data, and then be able to cluster it, group it, rank it by volume and by severity. And that's been the unlock that's been able to allow us to actually use customer feedback in a, and feel like we actually know the truth of the ground truth of what our pros are saying across all of our different customer facing teams in all of our different product areas. It was impossible to get it.
And I think that ground truth kind of speaks as well to like the bias piece, right? Where like when you have so much feedback and it becomes just noise, it opens up the room for individuals, or kind of the loudest person in the room, or like the most recent customer kind of screaming to sway the decision when they may not be.
who the product manager has the closest relationship with on the frontline teams is really what was happening in our org a lot.
100%. Cool. Next question for you is, at your level, right? So at the executive level, I'm curious, what is the role that customer feedback plays in your discussions, your guys' planning? Really curious to get your unique perspective on that.
So it is foundational, and we set our company-wide strategy based on a number of different inputs. So customer feedback, customer needs is one, but there's also business needs and our mission and our vision. And so we set our overall company strategy using a variety of different inputs, but then it flows through to all of our different orgs, product org, the sales, customer success, and in the product org, then we have strategy at each of our pillars and our squad level. And so that's where it plays in, it does play in, it's one of several inputs at the company-wide strategy level, but it is really in the getting clear about our implementation of that strategy at the product org and squad level. And so when a squad is doing longer term strategic work, which each one of our squads, that's part of their process is to, every 6 months or so, like whenever we're kind of looking at a new thing, we do deep strategic work. And they're always reviewing customer feedback. And, I actually went through a great strategy deck today with one of the squads, and they were saying, the word unwrap got referenced a number of times where they're just like, in unwrap data, this is it's coming to the top, and they did a separate analysis of just their feedback and then incorporated it into the overall strategy story that they were putting together.
Love to hear that.
So just one other way that we use it is on the quarterly planning level. So each squad has its strategy that's kind of happening whenever they need it, but then on a quarterly level, we're setting OKRs. And so our product ops team does kind of a synthesis of all of our unwrapped data, puts together a top 10 list, and we present that out to the product org about a month before we start in our OKR setting, so that it's right there, and we then dole those out to the squads for the work that they're doing for the quarter.
That's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like a super rigorous process, and we're really excited that we're a part of that, hopefully making that easier. I'll maybe jump to my last question, which is related. You mentioned you were in a meeting today where you kind of saw some of this process at work. We'd love to get your thoughts on, what is one feature that Housecall has released publicly that you're really excited about, that was inspired or driven by customer feedback that you all heard?
Well, so at this point, so many of our features, almost all of our features are really just are so informed by it. But one that really sticks out is something that we call a small but mighty win. Was managing the default content on invoices. So our field service management pros, they are, as you can imagine, a big part of what they use in our software is invoices and getting paid. And so they often want to have a note that goes along with an invoice, or, and the note that goes along with the email. And we had a template for it, and you could change the template, but it just wasn't easy to manage the defaults of it or switch between templates. And so we released, a little feature that did that. And it was one of the biggest things that was coming through Unwrap over, time after time. And so it was great to get that out.
That's awesome. And have you been able to hear some of the feedback from customers after that's been released?
Yeah, it's one of the lovely part of our customers is that they're vocal about what's not working, and then when things are working, they're like, yeah, that's just how it should be working.
Great.
And
there you go.
So silence is better than.
That's one of the things that we talk about, is that we love to see in our in our charts, like if we can see that complaint or that request go to 0, you've done your job. So then it's great to confirm that the requests have gone away. Well, awesome. Thanks so much, John. I really appreciate you taking the time. It's great to hear a little bit more about how you guys are operating and how Unwrap is helping you all. And for those out there who are listening, if this resonates with you and you have some of the same problems, we'd love to chat, and feel free to visit our website, unwrap.ai. Thanks again, John. Appreciate it. Have a good one. Bye.